On the streets, it's all about being tough, but even the hardest rappers hit moments where they can't hold back the tears. From NLE Choppa begging his fans to pray for him, to FBG Butta's heartbreaking tears about how the street life cost him his sister.
That hurt my soul every day.
And Kodak Black, whose struggle with addiction led to an emotional breakdown. These artists showed raw emotions, revealing that even the most gangster rappers go through pain. NLE Choppa. NLE Choppa once had a super emotional moment on Instagram Live that really hit home with his fans. During the live stream, he started tearing up while talking about some deep stuff like prayer, mental health, and his plans to give back to his community. He kept it real, saying that prayer has made a huge difference in his life and urged his fans to pray for themselves and for each other. You could tell he was serious about it, really stressing how much this spiritual practice helps him stay strong and grounded.
Like when you lay down, sometimes just pray for me. Hear me, because this I love when people pray for me. Like if somebody pull up to Christmas and he ain't got me no gift and he tell me he prayed for me, fool, this the best gift ever, fool, on God.
As he went on, Choppa got into some heavy topics about mental health. He opened up about his own struggles with depression and the pressures that come with being in the spotlight. His voice shook and tears welled up as he talked about how tough things have been. He knew that a lot of his followers might be going through similar stuff and wanted to make sure they knew they weren't alone. He shared his plans to set up a support system where fans could connect with him and each other, creating a space where people could share their stories and find comfort in knowing they're not the only ones dealing with these issues.
Like, oh God, if you really with me, you going through shit, like, I don't know, it'll probably be a letter you can write to me or something. And I'm picking out the best letters.
This showed how much he cares about building a supportive community around him. Choppa also talked about his plans to set up programs focused on mental health and personal growth. He mentioned wanting to create events where fans could hang out with him, share their stories, and get some support. He really wanted to make a place where people felt understood and valued, saying that kind of connection was way more meaningful than any material gifts. His emotional appeal wasn't just about him needing support. It was about him wanting to be there for his fans too. He made it clear that mental health is something everyone needs to take seriously. NLE Choppa isn't the only rapper to show his vulnerability live. This next rapper broke down completely while he was live. Kodak Black. Kodak Black has had his share of emotional and troubling moments in the public eye, one of the most notable being during an interview with Zeus, where they linked up to react to his Super Gremlin music video. From the start, Kodak acted very strangely, clearly affected by how high he was. As Zeus and B. Lou tried to engage with him, Kodak was itching, twitching, and nodding off, leaving fans and the hosts confused and concerned. His erratic behavior and the way he was moving made it obvious that something was wrong. A few months later, Kodak's situation worsened during an Instagram Live session. He was visibly high, struggling to keep his eyes open, and appeared to lose consciousness while on camera. In another live stream, Kodak was in a similar situation that worried his fans, many of whom were watching in real time and pleading for him to get help. Comments like "drugs is bad" and his plug recording him laced flooded the chat, showing the deep concern of his fan base. This live session highlighted just how serious his addiction had become and the urgent need for intervention. The situation escalated to the point where Kodak was arrested and forced to take a drug test, which came back positive for fentanyl. After being released on bond, he had a heartbreaking moment where a fan told him to stay in jail to sober up. This comment triggered an emotional breakdown from Kodak, who appeared to hold back tears and questioned the kind of person who would say such a thing to him.
Damn, what kind of person are you? This said you need to go back to jail and sober up, yak, for real, man. How and why would you, and why do you feel like that's the answer to my, whatever you feel like?
Fortunately, this dark period seems to have led to a positive turn in Kodak's life. After his release, he took significant steps to get sober and improve his health. Reports indicate that he is now in a much better condition, having managed to turn his life around. His journey has been a difficult one, marked by public struggles and personal battles, but it seems he is finally on a path to recovery and better health. Kodak isn't the only that has had his fans worried. The next rapper teared up in an interview while talking about the death of his sister, FBG Butta. During a heartfelt and emotional interview on Adam 22's podcast, FBG Buddha broke down crying while talking about his sister, K.I. The conversation began with a discussion about the accusations of snitching that have been directed at Buddha. He passionately defended himself, insisting that he had never sent anyone to jail and that the rumors were false. The pain in his voice was evident as he explained that his sister, K.I., was wrongfully accused and that if she were alive, she would be fighting for her freedom instead of being falsely blamed. Buddha's grief was palpable as he expressed his preference for his sister to be alive and in jail, fighting for her life rather than dead. He wished that he could be on the phone with her, laughing and sharing moments instead of just talking to her memory.
Kyra, I wish I was laughing with my sister for. I wish I was sending my sister this money. I wish I was sending my sister these pictures of me at these interviews and on these platforms. I wish I was showing Kyra this shit. Oh, took her. That shit hurt my soul every day.
The anguish he felt was clear when he talked about sending money and pictures to other people, wishing he could do the same for K.I. His daily struggle with the loss of his sister is a heavy burden, one that he carries every day. The interview took a deeper emotional turn as Buddha spoke about the impact of K.I.'s death on his life. He described how he has to stay strong for his daughter and how he often feels weak and cries during interviews because of the pain. He feels the weight of being the strong one in his family, holding everything together despite his own grief. The exhaustion of constantly being strong and the sorrow of not having K.I. around to share life's moments are overwhelming for him. Adam 22 asked Buddha about K.I.'s reputation and how she became capable of committing the acts she was rumored to have done.
Can I just ask you this, like, when it comes to K.I., how does a girl become like that in terms of being capable of committing acts like ones that she's been rumored?
Buddha explained that the environment they grew up in played a significant role in shaping their lives. He conveyed that if he had not been shot, K.I. might not have taken the path she did.
You see the pain I'm going through, bro? If you was going through the I'm going through, Adam, if you felt this pain right now, you go do it too. You go do it too. You go do it too, Adam.
The sense of vengeance and the need to protect each other drove them to extreme measures. His reflections highlighted the harsh realities of their lives and the deep bond they shared. Similar to Buddha, this next rapper lost one of his close friends, but he found out on a live Instagram stream. Lil Durk. Durk faced an incredibly emotional moment when he found out about the tragic death of his close friend and label mate, King Von. On November 6, 2020, at around 2:15 a.m., Von and his crew were involved in an altercation with Quando Rondo's crew outside of the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, Georgia. The dispute quickly escalated into gunfire, and Von was shot multiple times. Despite being transported to the hospital in critical condition, Von succumbed to his injuries later that day at the age of 26. The incident left 2 people dead and 6 wounded, with one suspect, Timothy Leaks, also known as Lul Tim, initially placed in police custody for the murder. Charges against Leaks were later dropped under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. Lil Durk was on Instagram Live when he received the devastating news. The comment section of his live feed began flooding with messages informing him of the reports about Von's shooting. The shock and pain were evident on Durk's face as he processed the news in real time, an incredibly raw and emotional moment for the rapper. Von wasn't just a collaborator, he was like a brother to Durk, who had taken him under his wing early in his career. After Von's death, Durk's first public response came through an Instagram post where he wrote, "My twin gone, I love you baby bro, D-Roy," alongside a photo of Von. This tribute showed the deep bond they shared. Durk had signed Von to his Only the Family label and played a significant role in shaping his career. Their collaborations, including Crazy Story 2.0 inches and tracks from Von's debut album Welcome to O-Block, showcased their synergy and mutual respect. Many in the hip-hop community shared Durk's grief. Asian Doll, a close friend of Von, tweeted in her despair, "I wanna die too. Shit, it feels like I died already." Chop Squad DJ, who produced many of Von's tracks, shared a heartfelt tribute remembering their creative sessions and the close friendship they had built. "R.I.P. my best friend," he wrote. "The only to listen to me word for word from day one. We sat on FaceTime for hours making songs together. Every bar had a meaning and every song was a part of our soul." Cardi B. Cardi B had a particularly emotional moment on Instagram Live where she broke down in tears over her relationship with Offset. The live stream revealed the deep pain and frustration she was experiencing due to what she felt was repeated disrespect from her husband. In the video, Cardi B expressed how Offset had been playing games with her emotions, especially during a time when she felt most vulnerable and lacking in confidence.
And she'll be like, watch what I'm about to do, watch what I'm about to say. And this fucking sad that I like to, this really like to play games with me when I'm at my most vulnerable time, when I'm not the most confident. He like to play games with me because he knows I'm not an easy girl.
She talked about how he seemed to take advantage of her situation, knowing that she was staying at home and not engaging in her usual activities. Her voice cracked with emotion as she described how Offset's actions were making her feel disrespected and unappreciated, despite all the support and help she had given him over the years. Cardi B's frustration. She revealed that she often had to resort to addressing issues publicly because her private conversations with him did not seem to be taken seriously. Her tears and painful words highlighted the depth of her hurt and the feeling of betrayal she was experiencing. She talked about sparing him from public scrutiny for a long time, but his continued disregard for her feelings pushed her to the breaking point. Cardi B's sadness was made worse by the fact that they have a family together, including 2 young children. The stakes were high, and her fear of losing the family unit she cherished added to her emotional pain. Cardi has made it clear that if Offset did not change his ways and start respecting her, the relationship might not survive, hinting at the possibility of moving on if things did not improve. Over the years, their marriage has faced significant turmoil. Offset's infidelity and other issues led Cardi to file for divorce in 2020. The world watched as their relationship appeared to crumble, only for Cardi to withdraw the divorce papers a few months later. Despite the public drama and personal betrayals, they continued to find their way back to each other. Their ability to reconcile after such hurdles speaks to the strength of their bond. Cardi has often spoken about the difficulty of moving on from someone who is not just a spouse, but a best friend and confidant. Today, their relationship status remains complicated. Cardi, who resides outside New York City, mentioned recently that Offset comes around and is always there to offer a helping hand. The couple is frequently seen together. Quavo, one of the prominent members of the rap group Migos, had an emotional moment on Instagram Live after losing a rap battle to Chris Brown. Once friends, now adversaries in the relentless hip-hop war, Quavo and Chris Brown's saga dates back to 2017. The spark, Quavo stepping in with Karrueche Tran, Brown's ex, igniting a beef that almost turned physical at the BT Awards after party. Fast forward to recent times, the dust seemed to have settled. Fans saw them side by side at the Rude Menswear Fall, Winter 2024 to 2025 show, thinking peace had found its way. But Twitter told a different story. Brown made it clear the beef was far from over. In his latest album, 1111, Brown dropped a subtle jab at Quavo, but the real hit came with his diss track, Weakest Link. In it, he claimed he was with Saweetie while she was Quavo's girl, branding Quavo the weakest link in Migos among other insults. Quavo didn't take this lying down. He fired back with Over Hoes and Bitches, a track that held nothing back. On the track, Quavo directly addresses Brown in both the verse and the chorus. On the hook, he raps, "You did the wrong and now the gone, she posted with a thug. Call the phone, she won't come home, don't beat her up. It must be the drugs, need to cross out your plug." In the second verse, Quavo questions why Brown started the beef over his involvement with Brown's ex-girlfriend. Brown, however, has stood firm. He has chosen to remain silent rather than further retaliation, leaving the last word hanging in the air. The next rapper displayed strong emotions while opening up about the death of his close affiliates. Boss Top, a significant figure in the Chicago rap scene, showed a rarely seen vulnerable side when he opened up about the devastating losses of his close friends and family members. Despite his tough exterior, the emotional weight of losing loved ones brought him to tears, revealing the profound impact these events had on him. Boss Top spoke about the tragic death of his close friend, King Von. Von's death was a heart-wrenching experience for Boss Top, who described the emotional turmoil he felt. He admitted that he has become numb to death due to the constant loss of friends, but Von's death broke through this emotional barrier. Boss Top shared how he couldn't hold back his tears when Von was killed, despite usually reacting to such losses with anger rather than sorrow. Being present when Von was killed made the experience even more painful and raw for him. The loss of Von wasn't the only tragedy Boss Top had to endure. He also reflected on the death of his best friend, Odie Perry. Odie's death was a significant and traumatic event for Boss Top. He was in jail when he received the heartbreaking news from his mother, who was crying uncontrollably. Initially, he feared it was his brother who had died, but when he realized it was Odie, his heart sank. Boss Top openly admitted to crying in jail, not caring about the perception of others around him. This was his first experience of losing a close friend to violence, and the memory remains fresh and painful even years later. Top, in an interview, described Odie as a fearless and respected figure in their community. Odie's death at the young age of 20 left a lasting impact on Boss Top, who still grapples with the loss. He often plays back the memories of that time, and the experience of losing Odie was a significant turning point in his life. The area known as O Block was named in honor of Odie Perry, signifying his importance to the community and the enduring legacy he left behind. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, one of the most iconic figures in hip-hop, showed a deeply emotional side during a 2014 interview with Angie Martinez on Power 105.1. The conversation took a heartfelt turn as Minaj opened up about her breakup with her boyfriend of 12 years, Safaree "Scaff" Beezy Samuels. Despite the rumors and speculation surrounding their split, Nicki's tears revealed the true emotional toll the separation had taken on her. Minaj described her relationship with Samuels as one founded on love and mutual respect. She admitted to still missing him and expressed uncertainty about how she would manage without him in her life. The breakup was particularly painful because it wasn't due to any scandal or betrayal, but rather the relentless pressures of her career and the demands of the music industry.
I just wish, you want to know what's so crazy?
What?
If I wasn't a rapper, we would have children, be married, and be living happily ever
Wow.
after. And that's what's sad, and that's what we're both sad about, because we know that this is what did it.
During the interview, Minaj's vulnerability was visible. She spoke candidly about how the fame and constant public scrutiny strained their relationship. The realization that her career, something she had worked so hard to build, was the very thing that drove them apart was a bitter pill to swallow. Her tears reflected the inner conflict between her professional success and personal happiness. It was a touching moment that connected with many of her fans, who saw the superstar as more human. The cheating rumors that surrounded their breakup were also addressed during the interview. Minaj denied that infidelity had anything to do with their split, emphasizing that the root cause was the external pressures they faced. Samuels himself later took to Twitter to clear the air, stating, "Cheating was never the issue. People grow apart, and it is what it is. And that's all I'll say about that. A lot can happen and change in 12 years. He added, "You all see a public figure. I'm with the real person. We will always love each other no matter what. Peace, and that's the last I'll say about it." The Migos. The tragic loss of Takeoff, one-third of the iconic rap group Migos, deeply affected both Quavo and Offset, leading to moments of deep grief and vulnerability. On November 1st, 2022, Quavo watched in horror as Takeoff lost his life during a dice game at a bowling alley in Houston. A fight broke out, shots were fired, and Takeoff was tragically pronounced dead at the scene. The immediate aftermath was chaotic, with a leaked 911 call capturing the panic and urgency of the situation. Quavo's voice could be heard on the call, desperately asking what needed to be done to save Takeoff.
He's calling the ambulance. Calling the ambulance.
Footage from the scene showed Quavo standing over Takeoff, trying to save his life. The deeply horrible image of Quavo's futile attempts to save his nephew will stay in the memories of many fans in the rap community. The pain of witnessing such a tragic event unfold right before his eyes left Quavo initially silent, struggling to process the magnitude of the loss. A year later, Quavo opened up about the incident, revealing the emotional toll it had taken on him. He expressed how difficult it was to come to terms with the death of Takeoff, especially since it happened right in front of him.
I'm a survivor. I was there, so at the same time, it could have been both of us gone. So I look at this as me being alive. I have to do this job and make sure everybody aware that losing my nephew, you could be in the same position.
His words highlighted the immense grief he was experiencing, underscoring the fragility of life and the profound impact of Takeoff's death. Offset, another key member of Migos, was equally devastated by the loss. Before Takeoff's funeral, Offset made a heartfelt post on Instagram, expressing the depth of his sorrow. "The pain you left me with is unbearable," he wrote. "My heart is shattered, and I have so many things to say, but I can't find the words to say." This post was a raw and emotional outpouring of his grief, showing a side of Offset that fans rarely see. At Takeoff's funeral, Offset delivered a moving speech, bringing many in the audience to tears.
"Lord, give us the strength. Just give us the strength, the family, everybody, give us the strength. I don't want to question you, God, but I don't get it. I don't get you sometimes."
It was a deeply emotional moment, not just for Offset, but for the entire rap community, which had never expected the Migos to be torn apart in such a tragic way. The bond between the members of Migos was more than just professional. It was a family connection that made the loss even more profound. Takeoff's death was a significant blow to the Migos and their fans. It marked the end of an era and left a void that is difficult to fill. Both Quavo and Offset's expressions of grief through public posts, interviews, or emotional speeches showed the personal pain they were feeling. Enjoyed this video? Click on any of the cards on your screen for more interesting videos like this.